Hey guys, I just wanted to do a short video. I got 2 spooky, scary stories from 2 subscribers, and they are short, but I could not wait. I had to read this with you guys, share it with you. It is so out there. Topic today, guys, is Ouija boards. Let's get into it. First story, and also both people want to stay anonymous, so just heads up. My mom played with a Ouija board when she was a young girl, and she also had a friend named Sydney, and Sydney had one as well as tarot cards. So she figured, let's go over to Sydney's house and spend the night and play with the Ouija board. So her and Sydney decide to play with it, and she can't remember what was asked or what was answered, but she does remember the planchette moved that night. She was convinced that Sydney obviously had to be moving it, not her. So keep that in the back of your mind. She thought it was Sydney messing around with her. Late that night, Sydney sat straight up out of bed. And she said in a deep voice, "I am possessed." It scared my mother so bad to the bone. And back then, she was only 9, and this happened in 1967. So, of course, things like that were definitely out of normal for these people. And back then in the 60s, they didn't have a lot of horror movies to desensitize these kids and people like that. So for something like that to happen, it chilled her to her core. And basically, she didn't want to ever have a sleepover at Sydney's again. She never spent the night there ever again at Sydney's, and Sydney ended up joining a satanic cult in college. Our girl moved up in life. Oh yeah. Satanic cult in college. Yeah. Came back to visit one weekend and told my mom and their mutual friends about how her boyfriend and his cult were following her. 3 years later, she committed, trigger warning for schmooishmeidel. Yeah, she schmooishmeidled herself. Yeah. She had been diagnosed with schizophrenia a few months before, too. And the doctors believe it was just a bad reaction to her psych meds that drove her to commit schmooishmeidel. Right, that's not the first time we've heard that before. My stepmother used a board in the 80s with a bunch of her girlfriends, and the next morning one girl woke up with a upside down cross burned into her leg, and it's still visible to this day. So ETA, I have never touched a board because of these stories, and I never will. Too much fear, and it feeds off the fear. Whew. Damn. So this person's mother went through something, and her stepmother. So she's got 2 insane stories that obviously made it so her never ever wanting to touch a Ouija board, and I don't blame her, and I'm happy that she won't, because you never know what you're opening, what portal you're opening, what door you're opening to the universe, the multiverse, whatever. I mean, good for her for staying away from him, especially after listening to her mother's story and her stepmother's story. You know, you ain't gonna have fun that night at the sleepover with your friend there, Georgina, having a sleepover, and all of a sudden you see Georgina sitting up in her sleep and saying she's possessed. I mean, that's what's gonna happen probably, you know. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Story number 2. This one's a couple of sentences, but so good. So, this didn't happen to me, but this happened to my mom. She worked at a psych ward in the hospital, and some of her friends that she works with were nurses, was telling her about how they played with the Ouija board before my mother started working there. So around, I would say about 8 nurses were there all together, and they were all involved in a game except one nurse wanted to sit out and watch them from the sidelines. Pay attention, because it's a detail we're gonna loop back around to that person that sat out. So the board then told the nurses that the nurse who didn't join them would rot from the inside out. And the nurses thought one of them was just playing a prank, a joke on them. So the one that was left out, that nurse left, and they all just kept playing. So after all that, the nurse left because she felt uncomfortable, and she just couldn't stop thinking about how the board said she was gonna rot from the inside out. So she kept that in her mind. Things were just not going good for her. She was starting to feel on edge. So she decided, I'm gonna go get a checkup. What can it hurt, right? I just want to make sure I'm not rotting from the inside out. You know, it's very cryptic. So she wanted to make sure she wasn't sick or injured or anything like that. So she went to get a checkup done a couple months later. And it turns out she was rotting from the inside out. She had breast cancer. And it was past every stage to the point of the breast cancer being late, and she finally kicked the bucket. Yeah, she died. She literally did rot from the inside out. So whether the board had anything to do with it, I don't know. But she died, and regardless, like, messing with the Ouija board can end up killing more people than you know. Seriously. So, stay the hell away from Ouija boards, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But also, they are not that fun, okay? They end up making you either go insane, shmoo or schmiter yourself off, or make other people possessed. Like, there's so many things it can do. Anyways, I love you guys, and yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoy my videos, and yeah, I'll see you guys later, spooky darlings.